All right, wonderful. Well, welcome. I'm Brisha Kralovic-Logan. I'm the founder of the Women's Woven Voices International Collaborative Art Project. And I'm here in my virtual trade booth at the NGO CSW 65th Virtual Forum. For those of you who are just joining me on Facebook, just a little bit about the Commission on the Status of Women, which happens every March, usually at the United Nations. It's sponsored by the United Nations, and women from all over the globe come together to conference about what is going on in their regions, issues that are facing women, and solutions and organizations that are serving women. So this year, because of the pandemic, the whole event is online. And so I'm actually here in my home in Santa Barbara, and I have set up the Women's Woven Voices Tapestry to share with you today. So welcome. And if you are here as a part of the NGO CSW, I hope that you have been enjoying this last week of programming and connecting and networking. And we have another full week of time for focusing on women and the possibilities, all of the possibilities for us, yes. So my topic today is activism, art and story, engaging seniors through the Women's Woven Voices Project. And recently I met a woman through the project who is in her 90s. And she shared with me that she had been active in the women's movement for her whole life. She shared that her first opportunity to participate in a women's march was when she was 4 years old, and I believe it was her grandfather that took her to the march. And now she has, after a lifetime of service, being involved with the Commission on the Status of Women and many, many organizations, she is now slowing down, but still wanting to be involved. And of course, has an incredible amount of experience and resources. She is a resource, she's a living resource. So I was delighted when she was attracted to the Women's Woven Voices Project. So let me tell you a little bit about that. About this, excuse me. I'm sitting here surrounded by a tapestry of woven story cloths that were contributed to this tapestry from women throughout the United States, from Australia, from Canada, from Iran, Iraq, Syria, Afghanistan, Bulgaria, and I have stitched these story cloths together. The project invites women to reflect on their life and to write about their life story, then to weave their story into an art cloth, what I call a story cloth, and then to share their story. And they can share their story in many different ways. I encourage women to gather in groups and talk about their stories, and also share their stories by adding their story cloth to the tapestry. So I wish that you were here with me. We were all in person. But what I'd like to do right now is just give you a sense of what it would be like to be here with me with this tapestry. And then I will share a little bit more about the project. So approximately 700 people have participated in the project at this point. I have set up today about 300 story cloths. So you see, you can tell just looking at the colors, each one of these strips is an individual story cloth that was woven by someone And I universally use the word women. However, men have participated and are encouraged to participate if they are aligned with the mission of promoting mutual respect, open communication, active listening, creative solutions for issues of gender inequity, abuse and violence, and bringing compassion to all relationships. So you see, all right. So what you're seeing is this collective tapestry of stories. You can also notice that I've added a red fringe to the bottom of the tapestry. I have added the fringe to 3 out of every 4 story cloths, just randomly, to signify what I had at once heard the World Health Organization saying, that 3 out of 4 women in the world were affected by some kind of violence or abuse. They recently put out the latest statistics, and I think they said 1 out of 3. And I will just say now that 1 woman experiencing violence and abuse affects every woman. So even my 3 out of 4, my fringe on 3 out of 4 really calls attention to it, but honestly, I believe that every woman is affected when anyone is treated with abuse and violence. So, so let's go back to the beginning of, the project. So let me just share how this project came about. A few years ago, I was really honored to be a part of a team that put together a International Women's Conference to celebrate International Women's Day, which is every year on March 8th. And we invited 6 local or regional women who we found very inspiring to come and share their stories with us as speakers for the day. We asked them, knowing the power of story, we asked them to come and just, tell us who they are. What's your story? How did you become this person who wrote this book, or created this organization, or did this, created this service in your community? Something, they all have done really amazing things. And so we really wanted to just hear what was your journey like? At the end of the day, the 6th speaker called our attention to something that had obviously risen up through the day. 5 out of the 6 speakers talked about being sexually abused in their childhood as a part of their journey. And the 6th speaker just addressed the 300 women in the room and said, if you've been affected in some way by abuse, by domestic violence, sexual abuse, and if you feel comfortable, would you stand up? And as this room of just 300 women just rose to their feet, it still really affects me just telling the story. It was so clear that this completely and entirely unacceptable situation that I know millions of people are trying to address in many ways, was something that I just felt like I needed to add my individual energy to. I'm an artist. I work in textiles, and I had for many years worked with all ages of people, but a lot with children. And I had used a very simple method of weaving to teach them how to weave a piece of cloth. And I had also used that method for various different community projects. We did a tapestry that called attention to the Alzheimer's Association one year. We did a tapestry that I did a tapestry with a women's group that, so that they could share their stories with their, it was actually a church women's group. And so I had done this before, and I realized that I really could take this weaving method and create a project that called attention to compassion, creativity, resilience, healing, and solutions to the issues of violence and abuse of women. So that's how the project was born. And so from there, I just reached out to my family and friends and created a website and just started sharing the project. Since the project began, I've done workshops with women veterans, with university students as a part of their Sexual Assault Awareness Month at the University of San Diego, with teens who are in a wonderful program that helps them to develop the skills that they need to avoid being sex trafficked, be involved in sex trafficking. I've done workshops with refugee women from the Middle East who have come to the United States to create a new life for themselves and their families, and with many different art organizations. So I do workshops, and then this last year with the pandemic, I've been able to reach out to many people because of Zoom, which has been wonderful. And I invite people to go to my website where I have the project outlined, the writing prompts, a meditation for you to just set the mood for reflecting on your life story, then some prompts for writing, and then you can order a free loom kit, which looks like this. It's simply some straws, some beads, some string, and that comes together, which on the website, there are videos that show you. It's a little 2-minute video of me saying, here's how you set it up. It's so simple. You actually just put the string, which is called the warp, through the straws. And that creates a place for you to hold and weave the weft around the warp like this. So very simple. I've had great feedback from people saying they've been able to go to the website and follow the tutorial videos, that I'm happy to hear that they're clear enough for people who have never done anything like this before to follow and to be able to weave their story cloth. So the story cloth is just your opportunity to create a little art piece that represents you. I want to say now that we have many stories. We wear many hats. We may be possibly mothers, daughters, aunts, grandmothers, sisters, teachers, lovers, wives, partners. We have so many different elements to our stories. So it's just completely up to you what you would like to weave. When you weave, you can just choose colors that you enjoy working with, or some people like to write out chronological important events that have happened in their life. There's many story cloths that have represented children, grandchildren, marriages, divorces, changes, deaths, births, every significant event that someone wants to mark. So you can do that by just changing the color of the yarn that you're using. And people have shared with me that, in my story cloth, this represents, a time when I was involved with something that had to do with nature. And, this represents the sunsets that I watched with my husband. So, whatever, so each one of these story cloths, I I don't know what each story is. People finish their cloth, and then you're invited to mail it to me and or give it to me. And what, if I'm working with a community group, then I collect the story cloths and then I stitch them all together. So that's kind of the basics of what the project is. The tapestry is then been exhibited in many, many different places, calling attention to, as you see, the beauty, the diversity, the creativity, the power really of our stories joined together as a collective tapestry. So it has been exhibited at the Commission on the Status of Women in San Diego County. Political events, it popped up at political events at universities, at women's conferences, at international art conferences, at the Visionary Summit in Sacramento. It's been to Nevada, it's been throughout Arizona, all throughout Southern California. And of course, with the pandemic, it's been exhibited online quite a bit. It's been in museums, and it will continue to travel and to grow and to become a part of the movement towards mutual compassion on Earth. The goal for me was to include, or is to include 1,000 story cloths from around the world. And I kind of briefly mentioned that, this really does have to do with women thriving in the world. And men are absolutely invited to contribute their aligned story, compassionate story cloth to the tapestry. So currently, I am working with the Front Porch organization to bring the project to 10 different senior living facilities. And the topic for me today was activism, art, storytelling, and engaging seniors. And I chose that angle, that lens to talk about today because of this partnership. It's been kind of life-changing for me. The director of the Front Porch Gallery in Carlsbad, California, Julie Weaverling, chose the Women's Woven Voices project as the art project for the senior residential living facilities that through Front Porch, and introduced the project, and it has just been embraced with so much love and enthusiasm. So currently about 400 residents of independent living, assisted living, and memory care communities, their families and their caregivers are all involved in creating story cloths. And the feedback has been so heart filling in that the opportunity to, first of all, to just create something that's really textural and visual and colorful that represents your life story has been embraced, and then the sharing. So people in their 70s, 80s, and 90s are able to use this project as a way to share stories with their families, with each other. It's a time of remembering, it's a time of honoring, it's a time of maybe reframing some of the things that they experienced in their life. And and through these engaging conversations that I've been having on Zoom, I've become aware that this could be a possibility for many, many people who are senior citizens and who would really benefit and enjoy participating in this kind of activity. So this is really a request, an invitation for you, anybody who's watching, to connect with me. If in whatever region you are in, if there's a way that I can be of service to share the project with you, to share the loom kits and the information on the website, so that if anybody feels moved to take that on and share that project with seniors in your area. I just want to share a quick story. One of the very first participants of the project was a 85-year-old woman who I know had been in an abusive relationship and was able, with the help of her family, with her daughter, to realize that she really needed to get out of that relationship. She was being physically abused. And she had, it had been a few years, and she decided to do the weaving, and told me that she sat with the weaving and she found it to be very meditative, and that she just didn't plan out, colors, or make a chronological timeline. She just wove. And she said, as I wove, I thought of many of the different experiences I've had in my life. And I had oftentimes thought of them as the good and the bad. But as I wove, I just started to see them sort of more as ups and downs, kind of more as the rhythm, of my life story. And she said, when I finished weaving, I finished the cloth and I thought to myself, I am a strong woman. And she said, Brisha, I have never voiced those words before. And I have to say that I was thrilled to hear that through the opportunity to just to focus, to just have the art, to open up the intuitive wisdom within, and the opportunity to reflect, that her conclusion was so beautiful, and she has that now. So I just love that. I have actually already received about 75 story cloths from the project that I was sharing with you, the Front Porch project. So these are all story cloths that have been done in senior communities. And I began stitching them together, so you can kind of see what the process is. As they're gathered up, I collect them from the community art facilitators, and I get something that looks like this. Well, actually, I get something that looks like this with the little strings at the bottom, and then I tuck in all of the ends, and then I start stitching them together. And I just wanted to share this panel with you because it's just so beautiful. So this is all done by senior men and women. It's not just women. And this is the full panel. As you can see, I haven't completed it. I will crochet a sleeve onto the top of it, and I will add the fringe. But I just wanted to share with you this amazing work. And what will happen with these is that I will stitch together all of the story cloths that come from this collaboration, from this partnership. And we're looking at about 400. And I stitch them together in panels, partly because they're very heavy, but also because for storing and for travel. And so there'll probably be enough panels to really show and represent the people who've participated. In November of this year, we will exhibit those at the Front Porch Gallery in Carlsbad, California. Then those panels will go to the various different communities so that they can be viewed and enjoyed by the residents. And then they will come back to me and become a part of the ongoing tapestry. So the tapestry will continue to be exhibited. What's developed over this last year of the pandemic is that we can connect with people internationally so easily. And my heart's goal was to have the tapestry be a part of the Commission on the Status of Women conference in New York during March. And here I am. This isn't how I imagined it, but dreams do come true, because I am here in the exhibit booth sharing with you. And I have also targeted museums around the world and locations where the tapestry can be seen in person and just enjoyed and add to the energy of the solutions for us to live with compassion for each other. What I started to say was that because of Zoom, I've been able to create relationships with people in different countries. I have a community coordinator in Canada who is putting together, she's holding workshops and putting together story cloths there. We have connections in New Zealand, in France, Germany, and Australia. And so if you're watching this and you are not in the United States and this is something that interests you, I would love to connect with you and share, be of service in any way I can to help you if you would like to introduce the project, share the project with seniors in your area and or any age group. I also reach out to young girls and women through the Girl Scouts and Girls Incorporated. There's the Girls Brigade that this would be just perfect for. So this is my invitation to you to connect with me. And what I would envision is that if you were to put together a panel in London, and Sarah has a panel in Toronto, and Chris has a panel in New Zealand, then we could always do an international Zoom exhibition of the women's woven voices from around the world. So that was something that I did not envision before last year, but now it seems like a wonderful idea. So I am just gonna see if I have any questions, and it doesn't look like I do. So I think I'll wrap it up there. Please, if you have any questions, feel free to go to womenswovenvoices.com. There's lots of information there. I will be in my virtual trade booth today for most of the afternoon. I'm in Pacific Standard Time in California. So it's approximately 11:30 now. And I will just continue to keep the booth open for a few hours this afternoon. So please feel free to come by if you're at the NGO CSW forum. And if you're seeing this live on Facebook, please leave comments, connect with me if you have any questions, and thank you so much.